Hello, welcome to all of you. This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from the Cape of Good Hope, the beautiful tip of southern Africa, the land of penguins, whales, baboons, snakes, you name it. It's gorgeous, more flowers here than anywhere else. I've come to talk to you about something that's rather, as I would see it, fundamental to the spiritual path. Anybody who's an occult practitioner or practitioner of yoga, dhyan, meditation, extreme sports, artists, this is relevant. Kundalini. Okay, so there's a lot of books about Kundalini. You can go and read the basic definitions. I'm not going to waste your time here with that nonsense. Sorry, that information. I'm just going to try and give you a more grounded, basic understanding of what we're talking about. In order to understand Kundalini, we need to travel back 200 years. 200 years ago, there was, in physics, such a thing called ether. And ether was considered a field of substance that traversed all substances and somehow was able to manifest through its processes the substances of all other things. Yeah, they decided it was too far-fetched. Recently we discovered quantum entanglement and scientists are saying it's a real thing. They're looking for a name for that field of quantum entanglement. I wonder if they're going to find a new name or if they're going to go back to the original name, ether. So what is ether? Well, ether is a subtle substance of matter that exists, always has. It's the product of the quantum entanglement field. And through this quantum entanglement field, this vortex of consciousness that's warping in on itself through light's processes and becoming a substantial atomic reality, we find ourselves in this situation in these bodies. And the consciousness, the energy of this ether is flowing in through our bodies, through our organs. And it's a life-sustaining process. And there are positive and negative qualities of the ethers. There are polarized qualities of these ethers. And in Vedic cosmology, we've discussed it in terms of Ita Pangala and Sushumna, which is the central pillar, central channel, spinal channel is too. So this ether is a substance. So this Kundalini, what we're talking about, this nerve force, we're talking about this etheric component of matter, which is in tune with the living principles of organic matter and is a sustaining force, the Force, Star Wars. So that's the source of what we're discussing when we're talking about Kundalini. How does Kundalini work in the body? Well, there are these subtle fluids that flow up and down the spine. There's a colostrum in the center of the head, and before it there's the pineal gland, and behind it is the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland manages the magnetic, hormonal, emotional states. The pineal, obviously, electrical, neurological in terms of what we call thinking, intellectual processes, pineal. So this organ in the head, it's a central sort of, there's a fluid that is produced here, and this fluid is flowing down the spine, down to the solar plexus, where there's something profound and mystical happening. There is an essence in the solar plexus that mixes with this essence. These are both fluids, and they're both an etheric component. And as these fluids flow from there down to the sacral plexus, there's mixing with yet the third essence, liquid, fluid, ether. And as these three mix, they then begin the ascension up back to the solar plexus, where they are once again enriched, because they are now thrice enriched. And then they cross, they cross the varicose veins, they cross all the nervous channels of the throat up and enter into the cerebrum, into the head. Unless, of course, through a sexual activity, for example, man ejaculates, there is a loss of this chi, the loss of this energy, and so this ether leaves the body. So these ethers move up and down the spine. It's about a 1 month program. It works with the planets, with the movement of the sun and the earth, relativity. And you can find out more about it if you understand when the moon is in the house of your sun. Watch how you feel, watch how you act, watch your sexuality. You'll learn about it. So getting to the Kundalini reality here, this fluid is rising and up and down. Now, if you meet someone, it's a profound connection, it's a soul connection, you can awaken this Kundalini automatically, or you can awaken it through meditation or art. If you're painting intensively and you go into a trance and you paint and paint, you can awaken your Kundalini. extreme sports. It could be a trauma. You could have witnessed someone dying in front of you. It could have caused you to think about life in the most profound ways. You could have just been in a really peaceful environment for a long time and just had perfect conditions around you for the awakening. Either way, the awakenings can happen. They can be confusing. There are a lot of writings about what this is, and there are a lot of symptoms. Symptoms, I call them. Some of them positive, some of them negative. Obviously, you can awaken your mental faculties, concentration can become intense, your sensory perception can become highly advanced, you can become aware of things you weren't aware of before, like colors, dots, moving around in the air, lots of little dots appearing, coming and going. That's the pranic force. The first thing you're probably going to see is the luminous layer around things. It's like a thin, luminous liquid, ether. And then of course your solar plexus. This is the key, right? So your solar plexus has got a lot to do with activating your kidneys and working with your stomach. And we're talking body heat, we're talking maintenance of the chemical processes in the body that maintains everything. So when that energy gets down to solar plexus, it can be quite powerful. And if you are out of balance, it can cause lots of heat in the body. It can cause lots of cold in the body, cold sweats. That is too much force in that center, too little force in that center, too much rising force, too much descending force. And obviously in the base, it can cause other issues. It can cause issues right the way up the spine, and it can cause a lot of physical pain in the organs. It can cause a mental and emotional disturbances. Telepathy is normally what's going to awaken because of the heart. Heart's normally very engaged in the process. And clairaudience, clairvoyance, all of these things, and they can be rather upsetting. People think, oh wow, this is what I want. And then they get it. They realize, oh, it's not what it seems. So, yeah, Kundalini awakening can come from many things. Now, when you're experiencing a Kundalini awakening, what would I say to you is really important. Firstly, drinking water is fundamental, because water it has a special relationship with the ether. It's like if you imagine life force, consciousness condensing, and that consciousness is slowing down, and the life force's rate of vibration is slowing down, and everything's starting to cascade against the other atoms, and the quantum entanglement is starting to substantiate reality. It starts to become liquid, water. So you can think of water as life force, solidified. And when you drink water, you're putting life force into your body that moves around. And the more you move that life force around, the more water you're going to need. Go for a run, move the life force around, and see what happens. You're going to need more water, because the life force is going to move. Then when it moves, it brings out of you, it detoxifies, it moves energy, it causes lots of reactions. So drinking lots of water and maintaining a high level of hydration is the key to any spiritual development, and it will actually optimize experience and reduce the effects of Kundalini. First point. Second point, you will be experiencing all sorts of thoughts, or thoughts of emotions, disturbing consciousness events. It's important to bring it back to the center. If you can bring it back to the center, then your Sushumna action will be efficient. You won't have too much Ida Pingala activity to cause disturbance. How do you reach Sushumna? Sushumna's powers, the powers of the heart, the powers of acceptance. Analysis is going to pull the consciousness down towards the root chakras activities. So you don't want to be analyzing yourself. You don't want to be analyzing. You don't want answers. You don't want to get a full clarity on the matter. You want to get a balance within yourself. You want to find a detachment. And you find a detachment without looking for the answers. So acceptance is the key. You practice the art of acceptance when you experience these conditions, and it will help. Drink lots of water. Acceptance. Check your diet. You probably won't want to eat. Make sure that you eat. Force yourself to eat if you need to, in small doses, and not forcing excessively, but keep track of your normal practice and go, I would normally eat, I'm going to eat something. I don't feel hungry, I'm going to eat an apple. At least you're eating, and force yourself to eat things. And if you don't feel like eating, it might just be that you're not feeling like eating the things you used to eat. Go into a green grocer, and walk around and see what appeals to you. Grab one, buy one, eat it, see how it feels. You might feel like eating a raw tomato, just whole. You might want to, you might feel like eating something you haven't eaten before, and follow your instincts and your intuitions, because they will guide you true to what your body's requirements are. So the body's requirements are fundamental. Acceptance on the heart level is fundamental. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever mental disturbance, emotional disturbance you're experiencing, come back to the central point of acceptance, and all of the Ida Pingala activities will slowly start to subside back towards the Sushumna, because acceptance brings Sushumna awareness. And it is a gateway into the Sushumna, and through this, the Kundalini experience becomes the heart experience of compassion, and compassion is a two-way street. It brings healing. So I hope this is helpful. It's the first message I wanted to share officially as my BushWhisperer profile. And I thought it would be a good place to start, because Kundalini effects are things that we will be experiencing. There's a shift in the environment at the moment. Environment of energetic consciousness as well as a physical environment. And this means a lot of us are adapting and shifting. And as we are shifting and adapting, these experiences will become more predominant in many people and will be relevant for people to look to finding a resolution. And there's a lot of writing out there on it. You can look at the symptoms, but really it comes down to physical symptoms: too much hot, too much cold, pain in the organs, pain in the spine, feeling no energy, drained, feeling too much energy, you can't sleep, you just want to sleep all the time. It has various different effects. It depends on whether it's overcharging or undercharging certain chakras on its way up and down the Kundalini circuit. And this has got to do with the swing of Ida and Pingala, whether it's carrying the positive life-bringing charge or the negative draining charge in that moment that is moving through the chakra, and how it's affecting that chakra. And this is why the Sushumna is so important, because the balance of these two produces a successive rising of the consciousness that's not overly energized. And too much energy in the Kundalini process is not necessarily positive. It can be wonderful for the awakening of the mystical abilities and the mystical perceptions, but these are not simple. These are for the more advanced yogis, people that have done the Kundalini awakening many times, and it never stops. It keeps going on your whole life, until of course some point where you no longer need it. But so it's a process that starts in your life, and it will happen through different phases, and as you get better at it, you'll become more equipped to realize what's happening, and you'll see it very quick. Oh, this is what's happening, and you know what to do in order to manage the stabilized way of moving through the experience and making it a holistic, useful, growth inspiring journey, rather than something that's destructive and productive towards balances. Okay. This is the Bush Whisperer catching his phone as it flips off the table. So much love, keep it real, keep it true, and don't forget to smile.